Hello and welcome to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Batholkus, and this is Krypton, Season 2, Episode 9, Blood Moon. And we had a little comic booky action going on in this episode. So, sorry, I'm actually making a little tab there so I don't have my notes blowing around and hitting the microphone. Yeah, we had a little bit of comic book action going on there, and not bad. It was like I said, when they have Zod or Doomsday or Brainiac in here, this is when the show actually gets good. When we just have the main characters talking to each other, not so much. So yeah, this is a good episode. Let me get a little business out of the way first, and then we'll get into it. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. You can hit the dislike button. I just ask you go down in the comment section, tell me what it is you don't like about it. Give me some constructive criticism, some feedback, if you will. If you want to see when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below as well. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it. You can go into the bell settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want. I also have a schedule up on suspendedfanimation.com. You can take a look at my schedule there. And I also mirror that on my Facebook site for Suspended Fanimation. Excuse me. I also have a Twitter. I have an Instagram. I have a Patreon, but I don't have any tiers set up yet on the Patreon. I will at some point in time, probably by the end of this year. With that said, welcome again, everybody. And yes, that has been rehearsed, as you can tell. I actually do that quite a bit, so I can get through it in a small amount of time. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the shit out of this episode. If you haven't seen the episode, go and watch it and come on back. This will be a video, and you can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking bitch, for the paddle. Yeah, I know, Sasha. It's I can talk that fast when I need to without any caffeine involved, which is kind of interesting. So yeah. So let's get started, shall we? Like I said, a good episode. We have a kind of a beaten Lyta being carried, and she's kind of going in and out of consciousness, and she sees that she's being carried to a chair. And when she's laid down in this chair, next to her on another chair is her clone. And this is the clone being somatically reconditioned to basically have all her memories and all that stuff. That's what was going on. And Lyta is actually telling Seg, Jaina, and Dev what happened. And then also that Zod, basically what he's got planned for the rest of the galaxy, that he's a fucking monster, really. And they need to get up to Wexler. They need to get Val, because Seg says Val's the only one that can actually stop all of this stuff. We need his help. And they were like, well, yeah, how are we going to do that with no space elevator and no spaceships? And conveniently, Dev's like, you know what? I ran to a smuggler buddy of mine. He just happened to have a skiff that he had converted into a little space cruiser that can hop back and forth between Wexler. That's when I first left the Sagittarii. Oh, yeah. And I happen to have it. It's hidden out in the snow out here in the Outlands. We can use that. All right. Way to have the MacGuffin handy there, Dev, and not saying anything about it until now. So, yeah. So Zod ends up giving a rousing speech, about the impending attack on Wexler for Krypton, and kneel before me. But, he gives his rah-rah speech. And, of course, he's going to sit at home drinking his drink while everyone else goes out to fight. Seg, in the meantime, is asking Lyta if she really had the life for dreams under the Black Mercy. And if so, it must have been really, really damn hard for her to leave it. And she goes, well, it took me a little while, but I realized that it clarified what I really wanted. And she says, what I really want is you, is what she said to him. And that's when Nyssa comes in and kind of awkwardly goes, oh, I'm sorry. And she turns around to leave, and Lyta grabs and goes, no, wait a minute. She goes, I heard what happened to Jor-El. I just want to let you know, we are going to, I'm going to look for him too. I'm going to help you look for him. And I feel really bad that he's gone and all this stuff. And Nyssa's like, okay, that's great, but you're here taking my man. So I don't know. So we end up having Seg and Nyssa leaving. They're looking for the cruiser, the space cruiser, or space skiff, if you will. And Sig says, "You've been awfully quiet lately. How are things going? How you doing, buddy?" Kind of chucks her in the shoulder almost. And she says, "You know what? While I'm happy to see that you got your love of your life back, I am kind of wondering if you're not the love of my life. And if so, what that's going to do to me," is what she says. And that's when Sig kind of stops and he gets this weird look on his face. And she's like, "Well, what's going on?" He goes, "I think the ship that we're looking for is cloaked." And he reaches out and he touches it. And of course, it's cloaked. Doesn't have any snow on it because it's, whatever, for whatever reason. Hey, Movie Fanobi and everybody else. And no, I'm no Gilmore Girl. So, we end up having Zod scientists saying, "You know what? There might not be enough black mercy toxin in Doomsday's system in order to keep him docile under control for the entire time." And he goes, "Well, you better pray pray to Rao that actually does happen." And he releases them and tells, of course, the first command that he gives Doomsday is "kneel before me," and which he does. Doomsday actually kneels before him. I still love that. Colin Salmon is able to just work it in every fucking episode of "kneel before Zod, kneel before me." It's always "kneel before Zod," which is awesome. Because, I mean, granted, Terrence Stamp was the one that did this back in Superman the movie, the Richard Donner movie, and Superman 2, of course, which is awesome. Just completely and totally awesome. And I'm glad that it's actually survived until today. That's almost 40 years now. Or actually, yeah, it is 40 years. So more than that. And I'm happy about that. So, see ya, Fanobi. I know that it's been a long day for you and you're on the East Coast. So, see ya. Lyda's running a fever, and Jaina, of course, wants to take her to a med bay as soon as possible, but those are only in the city. And Dev's like, "You know what? There's some medicine that we used to take when we were out in the field, and I think that the public house has some. Let me go and get some." So he leaves her there, and Lyda wakes up and looks at her mom in horror because of all the shit that she did to her mom. I mean, she shot her in the back, for God's sake. And she's like, "I'm a disgrace to you. I'm sorry. I chose him over you. I really should have chosen you. I made a bad decision." And Jaina forgives her, of course, and says that they need to work towards freeing Krypton and then also changing the family name of what it's known for. And because it's seeped in bloodshed and violence, and they need to actually stop that at this point, which is kind of interesting considering that how much of a lifelong Sagittarius that she's been. So we've got a little bit of, drama worked in here as well. So Seg gets to Wexler, of course, with Nyssa and reunites with Val. And he tells them that Zod and his fleet are coming, and they need to get ready. And they're looking at Nyssa and he's like, "Yeah, where'd you get this information from?" And they're like, No. They don't trust, the information because they think it came from Nyssa. And she's like, "No." She goes, "Yes, Zod was manipulating me too. Yes, I did give you false information because of him, but that was only to get my kid back." She goes, "I'm all on board now." And Seg's like, "You can trust me." He basically kind of invalidates Nyssa right there by going, "You know what? You don't have to trust her. You can trust my word." That's like, dude, way to stand up for the girl that you just, what was it, hours ago, or saying that you would die for her and you love her till the end. And way to go, dude. That's the way to show it. Hey, Pen Farm Girl. Yeah. So that's when Seg, of course, bumps into Kem and Adam, and they have a reunion. They hug each other, and they're having a group hug. And Kem, of course, makes a joke about where their hands have been and all that stuff, where they're kind of roaming and stuff. And Adam says that Kem, in Seg's absence, was crushing ass, as he puts it. And Kem's like, "Crushing ass? What the hell does that mean?" So we see this ship coming down to Wexler, and it's getting ready to land, but it's too far out for the artillery to be effective. So they're just kind of waiting for it. The door opens up, and out walks Doomsday. Just Doomsday. That's it. Supposedly these things are big enough to carry 5 squadrons of Sagittari. So a lot. Zod, of course, sitting back on Krypton, drinking his drink, says that he orders Doomsday to kill everybody in sight, kill them all. And that's what happens. We have Doomsday walking forward, and the rebels are like, you know what? Wait until he gets close up before we start firing. So that's what they do. And they end up, of course, waiting until he's almost on top of them. And they just start firing. You just see, like, there's a lot of random fire. There's one dude that was there, and their shots look like they were all over the place. There's raising a lot of dust. They think he's dead. They cheer and everything. And then when the dust blows away in this one big gust, we see that Doomsday was just taking a knee. That's all it was. And he gets up and runs towards them. And at this point, that's when Val's like, get the fuck out of there. Come back now. Retreat, retreat. And the commander's like, nope, we're not moving. We're going to stand here because we can't let them get into the tunnels. We can't let them get into the tunnels. So stay and fight with me, men. Obviously, he watched Braveheart right before the battle and didn't get to the other part of it where they lost. But Doomsday starts ripping through them fairly quickly. I mean, just starts slaughtering the shit out of them. And he ends up attacking the base and getting into the tunnels as well. Yeah. And they are shitting themselves at this point. They're saying the force fields aren't really holding him back. They're just kind of slowing him down a little bit. And Adam says, you need to get the hell out of here now. Doomsday is unstoppable. The only person who ever killed him, whoever stopped him, never, doesn't exist anymore. And we just need to run as far as we can. And Seg says, well, we don't have any way of getting off the planet. There's no way we can run. And that's when Seg comes up with the idea of, oh, you know what? But we have the ship that Doomsday came in. And they're like, well, that's kind of a crazy idea. It's like, well, what's the alternative? We either die or we go and run towards the ship. And they don't know if there's, squadrons of Sagittari or not that are on there. So Nyssa decides to volunteer to lead that group to run towards the ship and take it. And to see if it's as empty as they think it is, of course. And they're going to get everybody off of Wexler, rebels and civilians as well. Val, in the meantime, wants to collapse the tunnels and trap Doomsday temporarily. It's a tongue twister right there, so that everyone can escape. And he wants to set charges and set them off by remote, of course. So Seg and Kem join forces to get as many people out of the tunnels as possible and also set some of the charges as well. Dev brings Lyta some of that medicine, and it tastes like ass, obviously. And she asks him what her clone was like. And Dev says she was exactly the same, with the only difference that her unwavering allegiance to Zod. And, oh yeah, and by the way, and we hooked up. I thought it would fill the void inside of me, but really it didn't, because it wasn't the real you, is what he was getting at. Yeah. And just then, as as he says that, who comes in, or we see Sagittari outside the door, and they freak. They're getting ready for the Sagittari to come in. They come in because they, of course, saw movement inside. And Jaina and Dev disarm them and are going to kill them when Lyta comes out and goes, stop, don't do it. And they're like, who the hell are you? We saw you die. And Lyta tells them, yeah, Zod lied to you. He has no honor. He is going to basically destroy Krypton if you let him, if you don't turn around. And then, she says that for one of the Sagittari, she actually says, I served with your brother, and your brother had honor. We served on such a war, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, he ends up going, okay, how can I serve you, ma'am? Is what he says at that point, because that just turns him around, automatically there. So Val, in the meantime, loses power and communication with the troops, and he can't remote detonate the bombs. So the bombs are going to have to be detonated, of course, by a short-range detonator. And that's what Seg is working on. And he tells Kem that's what he's doing. Yeah. Val is able to get enough power just to tell him that Doomsday is crashing through. And he's staying behind a little bit to do this. When Adam comes down and tells Val, we need to get the hell out of here now. What the hell are you still doing here? It was a little bit reminiscent of Empire. They kind of took it from the Empire Hoth scene, with getting Princess Leia out of there. It was pretty much that scene. And just as they're getting ready to get out, who busts in through the door? But actually through the tunnel, I should say, but Doomsday. Yeah, Doomsday kind of busts through, and yeah, shit happens. It collapses. The tunnel collapses a little bit. So Seg is sinking the bombs to short range detonators since the power's been killed, of course. And just before he can set the last one and move away a little bit and get the other troops out, Doomsday busts through that tunnel and knocks Seg out. And he also drops the detonator as well. So the rebels end up storming the ship led by Nissa, and they take out the Sagittari that are there. She loses her gun at one point, pulls out a knife, and just starts going hog wild on these people and just starts, stabbing these guys. I mean, she is going full on Matrix on these guys and kills like at least 5 or 6 hand to hand by herself in slow motion, too. So you get to see the blood fly and all that stuff. I have to admit, it was actually not a bad scene. They did I was kind of interested that they were able to pull that off. Val ends up digging out Adam from the rubble. He's literally covered in boulders, and Adam can't feel his legs. So yeah, that's kind of shitty at this point. Kem is dragging an unconscious Seg away from where he found him, and Seg comes to and says, "What the hell happened?" And Kem tells him Doomsday, in case you weren't joining us here. And what about the rest of the troops, is what Seg says. And Kem's like, nope, everyone's dead. Doomsday killed everybody. And they're like, oh, shit. Okay, well, I lost the detonator. We need to find it. And Kem's like, no, you need to get up to the surface. And, of course, Seg's not going to listen to him, of course. And so what does Kem do? But he knocks him down, sets up the force field so that Seg only has one way to go, and that's up and out. And Kem tells him, that he loves him, that they're brothers, all that kind of stuff, and he leaves. And Seg, of course, cries and bangs on the barrier a little bit, but, we know he's going to have to come back up. And Kem also tells Seg that, he has a responsibility. He can't save everyone, and he also needs to find Jor-El as well. So we see Kem, he finds a gun with a flashlight on. He's looking around. He finds one of his troops torn in half, still kind of alive, that's screaming but ends up dying. And then he finds a detonator. And when he stands up, of course, who's standing behind him but Doomsday? Yeah, Doomsday is standing behind him after he finds a detonator. And he turns around, and Doomsday just shoves his hand right into Kem's stomach and chest, lifting him straight up. And Kem looks at him and gives him the bird, flips him off, hits the detonator, and it drops out of his hand and it explodes. In the meantime, we see the rebels on the surface and civilians that are all banged up at this point, and they're making their way to the ship when they hear the explosion. And then the tunnels start collapsing, but then we end up having a little bit more happening. Wexler is breaking apart. And Val says, oh my God, it's all my fault. I never thought this was going to happen. I didn't think that, Wexler would be destroyed by destroying the tunnels here. And this, by the way, is how this happened in the comic books. This is what jax-ur did in the comics. So jax-ur, who, had the eye, the prosthetic eye, and was also a man in the comics, not a woman, was the one initially who destroyed Krypton's moon. And, of course, did it by accident. But now they've moved it over to Val at this point in this series, which is kind of interesting. I didn't know if they were going to do that or not. But, hey, since they've already changed the timeline, it's not bad to actually do this and change little differences here and there from what actually happened in DC lore to now. So I'm actually happy with that. So, of course, Nissa wants to know where the hell Seg is. And he goes, I don't know. Get on board the ship because it's breaking apart. And we see Seg get on board the space skiff, and it takes off. And everyone gets off of Wexler before it starts breaking apart. Obviously, Doomsday doesn't make it because, he's trapped underneath. And that is where we leave off on the episode. So, like I said, pretty damn good episode. We actually had, we had a comic book accurate thing that happened. Wexler breaking apart. We had some Doomsday action where he's ripping some people apart. We had Nissa doing some Matrix action as well and killing guys in slow motion, hand-to-hand combat wise. So, all in all, not bad. Hey, Anthony Greenslade, I'm not doing too bad. A little bit tired, but not bad. Sasha, I've actually fallen asleep watching one of Dennis's videos. Yeah, I can see that. A lot of people have, probably. Mostly, I ignore the meaning of the words. Just the sound of his voice is enough. That's kind of creepy, Stanley, but hey, I'll take it. Yes. Does he need a side job, Sasha? What are you guys talking about? About Dennis should read Audible books. Yeah. No, not really, because if I read Audible books, it just comes, especially when I start reading, it's like, yeah, and if I'm doing that, it would be like I was reading something from a cue card as I'd actually, it's my own writing that I'm reading, so I already know what I wrote there. Sometimes I can read what the hell I saw, what I saw, but sometimes not. Let's see. I was using Slurmy Scott's term. Yeah, I came up with a new word today, fan spaz. So fan spaz is where you get angry about something that's, fan wise, and you either put it on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, where you just kind of get angry enough to, spat off about it, and you kind of run on a little bit longer than you should, and you realize that you kind of fan spazzed. And yeah, that's I don't want to say sorry to Feisty Fan because I fan spazzed on one of her posts, is what it was. Juan Senez, what do you think is going to happen next? That's a good question, Juan. I don't know where they're going with this because they're kind of taking little bits and pieces from comics, but not a lot, and they're doing their own thing. So, yeah. I'm not too sure where they're going with it. I wish I could tell you, but yeah, it's hard to know, especially with SyFy stuff, man. It depends on their budget. Just recently got a new job and knackered. Nice, Anthony. Congratulations, by the way. Was it good? I didn't have time to see it. Yeah, Joshua, it was pretty good. I have to admit, it was fun this time around. Joe Greer says the stuff that sounds like the NPR show Hearts of Space music. That's what you. Is fan spaz kind of like the opposite of nerdgasm? Yes. Nerdgasm is where, yes, Pen, it really is. Yeah, nerdgasm where you have the, oh my God, I can't believe, like for me, when Captain America in Avengers Endgame says Avengers Assemble, and that's the first time they actually say it in the movies, and I was the only one clapping in the theater, that was a nerdgasm. So yes, it's the opposite of nerdgasm. That's what a fan spaz is. So good night, Joshua. Yeah. What would you like to happen in the finale? Whoa. Well, I want to find out what's going on with the codex. I mean, we really don't know. Weren't they supposed to be making a bomb out of that thing? They kind of forgot about the codex. You remember that supposedly Zod's got a bomb out there that the codex was supposed to be using, and they kind of forgot about it a little bit when they brought Doomsday in again. I don't know. And I want to see Brainiac come back. What's going to happen with Brainiac, and maybe also get back to the whole gist of why this whole series started in the first place. Is Superman's legacy back again? Is he back into existence? What's going on? Maybe kind of shining a little bit of light on that. Yes, and I know Tiny Lobo returns next week. So we get some more bad jokes, and hopefully he's worked out his abs this time around. Yes, Sasha, I have people from around the world that actually watch. So I have a lot of people in the UK. I have to admit, there are a lot of people in the UK that watch. So UK, Europe, and Scandinavia, strangely enough. So pen, I see the color flashing as well. Which color is that? Dennis, why is the color light fluctuating? Oh, you mean in my place here? It could just be that the camera is not adjusting well right now. It could be that. So Google did something weird. They switched over their whole operating system on streaming, and I'm gonna blame that. Is what I'm gonna blame, and it's kind of screwing around with things. You can't color balance with the right white card, Sasha. That's the old school way of doing things. It'd be nice, but yeah. Unfortunately, this is through Google and through YouTube, and they don't have a little white balance thing that you can actually hit and do that with. I would love to. I'm not calling you old. I just said old school. So, 4:41 a.m. Wow, Anthony, get some sleep, man. Definitely. I'm actually going to wrap things up here in a little bit. So, not too bad. Yeah, like I said, not too far along. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also, if you're still on the fence about joining up, you're going to see a video at the very end here that pops up here. Basically, what YouTube does, it takes all the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, and it collates all of that and plucks a video out of my vast video library of 201 now videos, and we'll pluck the very best one for you, pop it up there just for you. And if you like what you see, you can hit the subscribe button. Excuse me. And up here is going to be last night's video of Legion, which I highly recommend because Legion is awesome. Friday, Joe Greer, I'll get to that in just a second. So tomorrow is going to be The Boys, episode 3. And at the beginning of that, I'm actually going to pull the winner for the iZombie contest that was going on for the Comic-Con bag. So I'm going to do that at the very beginning of The Boys video. Friday, all I'm doing is probably about like a 10-minute video to announce the winner of the Swamp Thing contest. And then Saturday is going to be Saturday Morning Blast Off. Sunday is going to be Preacher. Monday is going to be the final episode. Is it the final episode? I believe it is the final episode of Legion. And of course, Wednesday is going to be Krypton. What's up with the contest, Dennis? So the contest, if you go and take a look at the very last video for iZombie was if you left a comment, and only, it's only one entry per person, only open to US residents. Sorry, I just can't afford the international rates of sending something out. And you leave a comment, I put your name in a hat. I will draw it. Whoever's name I draw, you have 48 hours to contact me with your mailing address. And if that, if you happen to be the one, then I send you out the bag from Comic-Con. I don't have the bag sitting next to me. It's in another room. So that's what that one is. And for the Swamp Thing contest, same thing, same rules apply. And you're going to leave it on that last Swamp Thing video. And that is a Swamp Thing poster from DC. It was actually kind of a cool poster too. It's heavy cardstock and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. But what's going on with The Bachelor in Paradise? I have no idea. Is that show still on? Probably is, because, people. All right. So with that said, thank you, everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. And also thank you if you made it this far in the video and the color fluctuations that are going off right now. Ooh, it's all kind of trippy and whatnot. I can see the color fluctuations happening too. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. It must not like the shirt is what's going on. Sometimes that kind of throws things off. See, watch, if I do a little white balance here with a white. Wow, nothing. Maybe. Nah, there we go. Maybe that's what happened. That's all it needed, was a little bit of white balancing. So, but it isn't blue. It's always blue. Yeah. Ouch, I got the door in. Wow. Yeah. So, my idea of reality TV is a YouTube live stream. Dennis gives Sasha a rose. No, she already got a Harry Potter pin. That's enough. That's true. You did. You know what? So I was going to buy an expensive slushy drink too, and all that stuff. And no, that's all right. So, with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go for the evening, so at least you guys can get some sleep. And I know, Joe, I'm always smooth. That's the way I work. Yeah. I'm going to let you guys go, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the boys and also for the wrap up of the iZombie contest. So don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may have Zod call Doomsday and sick him on you from the comforts of his armchair while he's drinking his drink. You know, and nobody wants that, because that's just wrong. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night, and good night.